Rồi em không đọc ạ.
Ok, bây giờ có đọc không?
Không, đang ăn cơm.
À đang ăn hả? Kim Dung
Dạ,
bây giờ em có đọc tiếp không thì giơ tay nè.
dạ không.
Ok,
Dạ.
không Kim Dung cơ, chị hỏi Kim Dung. Kim Dung lúc nãy có đọc.
Dạ bây giờ em chưa thuận duyên đọc tiếp á chị.
Ok, không sao. Để chị điểm danh thôi mà. Kim Thanh là không đọc đúng không? Kim Thanh là đi nè đúng không? Kim Thanh không đọc phải không? Giơ tay xuống ha. Diễm Khánh ơi, Diễm Khánh có đọc không? Ok rồi Diễm Khánh ha, vậy là 2 4 6 8. Ok, vậy mình có 8 người nha. Rồi YouTube mình lên rồi đó cả nhà. Dạ, chào mừng đoàn đua tiếp tục tiến vào vòng thứ hai của buổi trưa ngày hôm nay. Hiện nay là mình đang có 2 4 6 8 tay đua hả cả nhà? 8 tay đua đã giơ tay rồi. Đó. Dạ, bây giờ tất cả đều đang đứng ở vạch xuất phát của lesson 5. Richness in mentation, cỡ chữ của mình là 30 và tốc độ là 11. Cả nhà cùng nói. I'm on track, I'm ready. Rồi let's go ha. Ok. I'm on track.
I'm
I'm on track.
I'm
I'm
ready. Let's
ready.
go.
Let's go.
Lesson 5.
Lesson 5. Freshness in meditation. Reading.
In meditation.
Reading 1.
Reading one.
Following the lamp of freshness in wisdom. Freshness in meditation is the second lamp that needs to be lit among the 7 comprehensive riches. So, what is freshness in meditation? To clarify the knowing, believe, and understand.
In wisdom.
Understanding of freshness in meditation, we
Clarify.
first need to cross the
In
definition of
wisdom,
meditation, and a person who masters the meditation is a person who is rich in meditation. Meditation is understood as the emotional state of the inner being. A person who masters the meditation is someone who proactively chooses and takes responsibility for the choices within their inner being in order to master external circumstances. A person who is rich in meditation is someone who consistently maintains the emotions of appreciation and gratitude in feeling tolerance in nature and a peace and joyful peace in the heart. Appreciation and gratitude. A person who achieves the state of peace and joy, tolerance and appreciation and gratitude. To understand the concept of peace and joy, we first need to clearly distinguish the reason that creates happiness. Human happiness comes from two reasons: pleasures of peace and joy. Pleasure is the emotional state of inner being when the greed and delusion regarding wealth, beauty, fame, food, and sleep are temporarily satisfied. For example, eating a chicken or buying a car can bring happiness, but how long can this happiness last? A week, a month, half a year, or years? Regarding of the answer, the happiness derived from pleasure will ultimately not last forever. When people lose the happiness caused the pleasure, they continue seeking other satisfaction for their greed and illusion. People often chase the happiness caused by pleasure for their entire lives. When greed and delusion are satisfied, people are happy. When are not satisfied, people not lose that happiness. Therefore, people need to know more about happiness that comes from peace and joy. It's a state of internal awareness where the greed and delusion related to health, beauty, fame, food, and sleep are released, stopped, seized, or cut off. It's the state of internal awareness originating from the thought within oneself. It stems from hearing, seeing, saying, and knowing without attachment to the layer of nature and the layer of feeling of the person. It's the state of internal awareness
truth
that
within
knows that one
ourselves
is hearing,
is
knows that one
from
is
hearing,
seeing,
seeing,
knows
saying, and
that one
knowing
is
without
saying, and
attachment to
knows
the
that one
letter
is
of
knowing.
nature in the life
A
as a
person who
feeling of
achieves
the
the
person
meditation of peace
is
and
the
joy is
state
a
of
person for whom the
internal
complete
awareness that
or
knows that
incomplete
one
possessions
is
of material
hearing, no,
objects
that
satisfying
one is
greed and
seeing,
illusion
no,
is
that
no
is
longer a
saying,
determining
no,
factor
and
of
no,
happiness.
that is a
Is a
knowing.
person
A
who,
person who
when
achieves the
hearing and
meditation of
seeing the
peace and joy is a
opponent's
person
problems,
who
only knows that they are hearing and only knows that they are seeing.
the complete
Thus, when a
or
person can
incomplete
master the
intention
peace
and
and joy
experience
meditation, if they achieve
is a person
satisfaction
who,
of
when
faith
hearing and
and
seeing the
illusion regarding wealth,
opponents
beauty,
of the
form, fame,
problem, who
food, and
know
sleep,
that
they
they
may
are hearing and
experience
only know
happiness.
that they are
Happiness
seeing. Thus, when a person
derived
can
from
master
pleasure.
the peace and
However,
joy
even if they
meditation,
do not achieve
if
it, they can still experience
if
the
they achieve
happiness
the
due to peace and joy. To
satisfaction
receive
of a
the
grip
peace
and
and joy
illusion
meditation, the
regarding wealth,
simplest way
beauty, fame,
is
food,
to
since
thoroughly understand the
their
knowledge of
experience
the human
is
structure,
also
recognize the truth
from
within oneself,
pleasure.
and thereby
However, even if
initiate the
they not
nature of
achieve
emptiness,
it, they can still
nullity,
experience
nullity. Then peace and joy will
happiness due
manifest
to
from
peace
that
and joy to
tolerance, the
receive
energy of
peace and
appreciation
joy
and gratitude,
meditation. The
tolerance. To
simplest way to
clarify the
get or
concept of
understand or
tolerance, we need to grasp the following concept. A
structures,
person with
then
the
peace and joy
virtue
is
of
a will
forgiveness,
manifest upon
the
that
other
tolerance
person's
and the
mistake in
energies of
10 parts, they
appreciation and
take all
gratitude
10 parts
tolerance. To
into
clarify
themselves,
the
and over
concept of
time, 6
tolerance,
to
we need
7
to
parts
grasp the
remain. If the
following
mistake is
concepts. A
repeatedly
person with
triggered,
the virtues
resentment,
of
she flares up
forgiveness,
again. A
the
person
other
with the
person's
virtue of
mistake is a 10
altruism,
pattern.
the
They take
other person's
on
mistake
10
is
parts
10 parts.
into
They
themselves,
take
and over
6
time,
to
six,
7 parts into
7
themselves,
parts
and
of
over time,
remain.
4
And
to
the
5
mistake
parts
that
remain.
repeats the
If the
energy
other
will
person's mistake
become
continue to
flare
recur,
up
and the
again.
person's
A
state
person with
changes,
the
causing
virtues
anger,
of
resentment to
autism
rise.
up
A
to
person with the
other
virtue
person
of
to that is a 10 parts
magnanimity,
attack.
leniency, the other person mistake is 10 parts. They take
A
4
person with the
to 5
virtues
parts
of
into themselves, and over time, 1 to 2 parts remain, and sometimes the mistakes are completely gone. A
a
person with the
person with the
virtues of
virtues of
tolerance,
tolerance
other
of the other
person's
person's
mistake in the
mistake is
10
a
part. They
10
do
parts.
not
They
internalize
do
the
not
other person's mistake into
internalize the
themselves.
other
They
person's
have thus
mistake into
partly
themselves. They have that
envisioned tolerance.
envisioned tolerance.
Next, let's
Next,
look
then
at
look at
the
the
definition of
definitions of
tolerance
tolerance
according to the
according to the
UNESCO reference
UNESCO reference
framework.
framework.
Tolerance is
Tolerance is
respecting and understanding
respecting and
the
understanding the
differences of
difference of
other
other
regarders,
regarding oneself
oneself in
in
custom,
custom.
living conception, religious belief, race, and ways of
Living
acting.
conceptions
It
or
is
express
accepting
or
that
ways of
others
acting. It is
do things
accepting
that
that
one
others
does not
do
approve
things
of
that
within
one
certain
cannot
limit in
approve
order
with
to
a
guide
certain
them
limit in order to
voluntarily
guide them
towards goodness.
voluntarily towards goodness.
And according to the E-Wit
And
reference
according to
framework,
the
from
with reference of framework,
informationalization, tolerance is
internationalization, tolerance is the
internal
internal
state of
state
not
of
being
not being
attached
attached
to
to
anything that
anything that
occurred in the
occurs or
mind
does
due to
not due
external
to external
circumstances.
circumstances.
Energization. Tolerance is a
Energization.
state
Tolerance
where
is a
the
state
nature
where
of
the
greed
nature
and
of
nature
greed
of
and
illusion
nature
cease. A
relations cease. A
materialization. Respect to
materialization,
understand
respect,
and acceptance
understanding, and
within certain
acceptance with a
limit. When
certain
a
limit.
person has
When a
tolerance and
person has
other not being
tolerance for
attached to
others,
their
not
faults, that
being
person
attached
will
for their
voluntarily
fault,
strive toward
that
goodness.
person will
We can show tolerance
voluntarily
for a child
strive
force,
toward
that
goodness.
child will
And can show
voluntarily
tolerance
strive
to
toward
the
goodness.
child
If you
will
can show
voluntarily
tolerance for
strive
a
toward
spouse,
goodness.
while
If
the
we can show
husband or
tolerance
wife
about
will
the person,
voluntarily strive toward
husband or
goodness.
wife
If you
will
can show
strive
tolerance for
goodness.
the
If we
employee
can
or
show
boss, that they
tolerance
will
for
voluntarily
employee or
strive toward
person will
goodness. If you can show
voluntarily
tolerance of
strive toward
ourselves,
goodness.
we will
If we can show
voluntarily
tolerance
strive
for
toward
ourselves,
goodness. A
we will
story told, a girl
voluntarily strive toward
repeatedly
goodness.
dreamed a
A
strange
sorry
dream. In the
is a
dream,
town of
we
real
saw many
specific
people locked
dream,
inside a
dream
dark
free.
house,
This
tightly
is the dream
recused
of so
by a
many
trusty
looking inside
padlock,
a dark
and they
house.
pleaded to be
Following this,
rescued.
they
Following
can see
this,
sin
she
dance
became
and
sick,
sin
thin, pale, and seemed
increasingly
increasingly lifeless. No doctor could diagnose her illness. She heard that
see
the old
how
monk
that
could
old monk
cure
could
strange
cause
disease,
sin
so tourists travel a long distance to find him. After hearing her account of what happenings, the monk said, "This is not difficult. This is a gold key. Wear it around your neck, and the next time you have that dreams, remember to use it. Open the door of that dark house. Your illness will disappear after you rescue the people inside." She thanked the monk and returned home with the key. 2 days later, he had the strange dream again. This time, she approached the house and looked inside. She discovered the people in the house were losers. She had deeply resented the mother-in-law who had deserted her, the neighbor who has slandered her, the childhood when who had pushed her into a filthy ditch and almost starved her, and others continue looking deeper and saw 3 legs dogs. She suddenly realized that it was a cowardly dog that had bitten her when she was little on her way to school. In short, all the thumb had hurt her. She decided not to open the door because she thought they deserved to be locked up. She did not use the cold key and ignored their cries for help. They daily passed, and her illness worse. She decided to see the monk once more. The monk said, "You only have one last time. If you miss this opportunity, the key longer to be able held. Next time you were dream, you must look before bad luck is completely sealed by her." So she decided we would follow the monk words inside, but evening she dreamed the strange dream again. Without hesitation, she bravely took out the key and opened the door. Everyone in the house rushed out immediately after the door opened. The house began shaking violently. She looked very much like the dreamer, stepping closer for a careful look. She realized it was herself and no one else. The dark house suddenly collapsed right after the girl stepped outside. Immediately afterwards, she saw a sunlight beginning to spread, erasing in the darkness. That night was extremely glorious and woke her up. Her health gradually recovered. Her eyes became cheerful. Her eyes regained his healthy clothes, and she looked beautiful again. She returned to her monk to understand what happened to her. The monk said, "In life, you soar up and hold every cause of weapon you may have through your forgive those who wander you. If it's something you soar up, total yourself within the fold of other, and other time those accumulated feeling of resentment cause you to become you. My child, look the other up is also look out yourself up." Accumulated resentment inside you is that a dark house without light. Open the door and let the light flood inside you. Life will be better. Usually when we use the mistakes of others to torture ourselves, it is like drinking poison and wishing that another person would die. If you do not know show tolerance of self, you know show tolerance for others. Showing tolerance for others is the simplest way to save our own future. And we ourselves are the one who needs the most tolerance. So once you have the energy source of tolerance, karmic connection will simply activate appreciation and gratitude. The sages has pointed out to us that appreciation and gratitude is always present in every person. So why it is no simpler for us to obtain the source of energy? This is because taken for granted has appeared within us. When taken for granted exists, appreciation and gratitude disappearance, resentment from that. Taken for granted is a very large trait of the inner self-being. As soon as the act of other helping us is repeated over time, the meditation is taken for granted naturally developed. Example, it is obvious that the mother is the child mother, so she must take care of the child. It is obvious that the wife is the husband's wife, so she must cook for husband. It is obvious that the child is the parent's child, so the child must obey the parent. A story is told. A young man had a great benevolence. One day, the young man moved to a new neighborhood and saw a beggar near. The young man committed to helping the beggar 2 coins every day. He gave him money this way continuously for 3 years. In the fourth year, the young man gave the beggar 1 coin. The beggar was surprised and asked why he was only given 1 coin. The young man had promised to give 2 coins every day for years. The young man said said that he has
performance
recently
needs to try
married
every
last
day
month, so he
for
was
you,
saving a
the
bit for the
young
child. He
person
asked the beggar
recently
to
named
take
last
only
month.
1 coin from now on. Hearing this, the beggar became
Hearing
angry
the
and slapped
beggar
the young
became
man twice
angry and slapped
twice,
the young
saying him,
the
"That
man,
was of
saying
your
that
toll,
his
1 coin from me, taken for
your
granted is what
told one
erases
card
all
from me.
appreciation and
Come
gratitude."
from
So how
gratitude
can he erase
is
this
a what
taken for granted? This
erases
great define we realize if this
appreciation
yarn
and
has
gratitude.
pointed
So
out
this
to
one
us,
is
no, nourish the
appreciate
inner
the what
sensation of being moved. The inner sensation of being moved is
the
the inner
inner
feeling
sense.
within the inner being that one has
It is a
something that one
condition
does
where
not
that
deserve or
what
receive
one
it
receives or
anyway.
receive
It is
as a
a
nature
condition where
which
what
at a nature of
receive exists, the
delusion and
nature of create
reality
and nature of
regarding
illusion,
where
reality
beauty
regarding
can
well,
food and
beauty,
sleep.
bank,
When you
food,
are
and sleep.
eating a
When
bowl
you
of
are
rice, or
eating a
what you are
bowl of
seeing
rice,
in
so
those
what do you
grains
see
of
in
rice,
those grains
you
of
might
rice? You
see
might
that
see
you
that
have
you
a
have
bad
a
bowl of
bowl of
rice and
rice.
someone
Someone
had
had
to
to go to
go to
market,
the
buy the
market to
rice,
buy
cook it,
rice
and serve it to
cook
us.
it
To
and
have the
serve
rice to
it
cook
to
it, there
us
must
and
have
have the
been
rice to
people
cook it.
selling rice at the
There
market, and
must
before
have
that, the
been
rice
people
had been
selling rice at the
transported by
market, and
truck driver to
before the
have the vehicle
rice
to
is
transport the rice. So we owe the Japanese,
Korean
Koreans,
and
and Chinese
Chinese
because they
because
produce the
produce
vehicles
the
for the
rice
rice to be
for the
grown.
rice to
We also owe the
it
people of
grow.
Thailand for the rice cultivation
Brother Wilson
technology with
appreciates
various pesticides. We also owe the technology
just
of
to eat
Chinese.
every
But thus, so
already metaphor
just
of
is a
rice.
very
We are
honorable bowl of
already in
rice. We already
a
endowed to the
favor
favor
of
of
thousands
thousands and
of
millions
millions
of
of people.
persons.
However,
However,
usually we
usually we
consider the
consider the
things that
things
we
we
have
have
as
as
a
taken for
taken for
granted,
granted.
being able
Being
to
able
eat
to
is
eat
taken for
is
granted.
taken for
Drinking
granted.
water is taken for
Drinking
granted,
water
and
is
being
water
cared
granted, and
for
being
or look for
have got
after
looked
by loved
after
one
by
is
love for
also
the
taken
ones
for granted.
also taken
Only
for
for us
granted.
can complete
For
the nurture the inner
ultimately for
sensation
us
of being moved with
completely
a
that's
mindset like this.
the
What
sensation of
others do
being
not
moved with
do
an
not need
expression
is
like
what
this.
they
What
shouldn't
others
do.
for
What I do for
the
others
is
is
a
what I should
sensation
do.
to
Once
others
we
is
nurture
to
the inner
once of it
sensation of being moved, it
nurtures
is very simple
appreciation
for
and
us to begin
gratitude,
to have
appreciation and
appreciation and
gratitude,
gratitude.
resentment and light.
Appreciation and
We are light
gratitude
and
and
darkness.
resentment are
Once
like
appreciation
light
and
and darkness.
gratitude is
Once
a present
appreciation and
on
gratitude is
resentment
present,
will
all
disappear,
resentment will disappear.
will
Simultaneously, the
diminish.
energy
Also,
source appreciation and
appreciation and
gratitude will
gratitude will
activate our
activate
karmic
a
result.
karma result.
Summary. Thus, we have
Summary.
it.
First, we
Lit the
have
lamp of
lit the
richness and
lamp of
intention. A
richness of
person who is rich
presentation. The
in
person
intention
who
is
is
someone who
rich
has
in
appreciation
meditation
and
is
gratitude in motion,
appreciation and
tolerance in
gratitude
nature, and peace and joy
in
in the
motion,
mind. A person
tolerance
who
in
reaches
nature, and
intention will
trust
keep their
in the mind.
internal
A person who is
electromagnetic
rich in
vibrations state by balance
meditation
and
will
positive
keep
direction.
their
This
internal
activates the seeds of
electromagnetic
karmic total in the
vibration states
subconscious toward a
balance
positive
and
direction.
positive
Peace and joy
direction.
will
This
activate the karmic
activate
awareness,
and trust
tolerance
will
will
activate
activate
karma.
karmic connection, and
Awareness,
appreciation and
tolerance will
gratitude will
activate karma
activate karmic
connection and
result. From
appreciation,
this, it
and
is very
gratitude
simple for
will
people to
activate
have a
karma
good
results. So for this,
life.
it is a very simple for people to have a good life.
Ok, cả nhà mình được 16 phút ha. Dạ, cả nhà mình cùng giơ tay và nói
Oh,
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mình là vẫn 8 người ha. 2, 4, 6, 8, vẫn 8 người trừ Trang Nhung nè. Rồi, biết ơn cả nhà đã hoàn thành
Cái này là
vòng
bài
số
5 gì đúng
2.
không?